Okay. Hello, everybody. We're live now. Welcome to the second edition of forLoop Go Global, where we are discussing how to be an employable global talent. I have with me here Ilya from Vanak and Arisa from Vanak. So, can you guys just briefly introduce yourself? I think you should go first, Larissa.
Okay, perfect. So, hi guys, my name is Larissa, and I am the talent development leader at OneHack. I help you guys to be prepared for the workplace, the job market, and how to do well on interviews. So, if you don't know OneHack, join us because we are a great community that really can help you to get your dream job abroad. And I'm here today to talk about resume and to talk about international interview. And we'll be answering your questions later as well. So join us.
Yeah, thank you very much. Ilya?
Yeah, thanks for having us. First off, I really appreciate the time, and everyone who's here, hello. Thank you for being here with us. My name is Ilya. I'm the CEO and founder of VanHack. Created the company about 4 years ago now. It was just an idea where we thought how we can help some friends relocate to the name VanHack comes from. But now we are a global ecosystem, global community, like Larissa mentioned, of over 177,000 members from 73 countries, probably more than that now, more countries than that. And we've helped almost 500 people get hired abroad. So we're kind of growing that number. So last year was a little over 200, and this year we'll probably get to 300 to 400 people that we've helped get hired by the end of the year. So we help you, we can go into all more details, but we really help prepare you. That's our difference between maybe other locations or organizations. We help prepare you for the international hiring journey. And then of course we show companies that are open to hiring from abroad on our jobs board.
Okay, thank you very much. Also, we have Ola with us. Ola, can you briefly introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Ola Kulema. I am a tech recruiter at Vanak, and I've had over 5 years of technical experience in the tech industry, and I've had experience working both as application support specialist, as a web developer, and also working on the stakeholder side. And now I have experience working both interfacing between developers and stakeholders. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So moving forward, basically we're just going to move to discussing the tips and advices can share with people on how to get, how to be ready, how to become the developers, the web designers, basically the talent that everybody's looking for. So over to you, Larissa. Just share some tips with us.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure. So guys, I prepared some slides to share with you. Just need to start my presentation. I'm going to start my sharing my screen with you guys. Is everyone seeing my screen? Please just say yes. Yes?
Yes.
Great. So I'm going to go over a few tips about international resume and interview. So before you start building your resume, the first thing that you need to do it is just search the job market. Because your resume, it is not just about your career, it is like an answer to what the market is looking for. So if you check the job descriptions, if you check what the job market is looking for, you will have much better chances of getting interviews and landing a job offer. So look for job positions similar to what you were looking for, check the job description, check the key words that they are looking for, and make sure that you are using the same language as the market. And don't forget that your resume, it is your personal marketing tool. So this is really important. You need to sell yourself as an amazing tech talent. And to do that in the most perfect way, you should tell your history on 2 pages. So don't go to 3 pages. Maybe in your country or in your region, the resume template it is different. It is different. So try to stay under 2 pages. 2 pages it is a good space, a good amount of pages. And talking about the content itself, you should start with your full name. Your name needs to have a little bit of emphasis, so don't make your name really small. You know, you can have a bigger size to write your name. And then you need to make a statement and tell to the recruiter what it is the role that you are looking for. And if you have 2 different roles that you are looking for, make 2 different resumes. One of the most important things in a good resume is to have focus. So if you are looking for a position as a full stack developer, you just need to mention the name. Sometimes people use like a phrase. You don't need to do that, just the role. Then you can mention all the links that I can find more information about you. So your personal website, your LinkedIn, GitHub, and then your location, so state, country, your email, and then your phone number. For the work experience, this is the heart of your resume. So be careful when doing this. This is really important. I have some tips here and I'm gonna go over them. So start with the role that you have right now in the company and for the other experiences as well. Because sometimes you work for a local company and it is much more important to tell the recruiter that you have a software developer position by now, then start with the name of the company. Then you mention the name of the company and the period that you worked there. If you are still working there, you can mention present, and city and state. Below the name of the company and the name of the role that you have, you can have a brief description about the company, including its business and the market relevance. So try to think about the most important thing that you can say about this company. For an example, Company X is one of the most important IT solution providers in the country. So this way I can understand that you work for a good company, and this already starts to counting positive points for you. For the bullet points, write down your main projects and include your achievements and indicators. For each position, don't forget to mention the technologies that you used. This is really important because sometimes people use just a little information. Sometimes they use too much information and it is kind of messy, you know, or it is too little or too much. So try to find a good balance and list out the most relevant responsibilities that you have and describe the work that you did. So when I say that, you need to give me details, but you don't need to give me too many details, okay? So balance. This will help the recruiter to understand your experience. Just to give you an example, sometimes the candidates say, I built an API using the technology X. What was the API about? Was to support something, to improve something, to help something? So give me a little example, you know, I need to understand the context. And then you tell me the technology that you use to develop the project or the activity and tell me the benefit of that. So if you refactor a code and then you make the system faster, smarter, increase the performance, tell me those kind of things. This way I can understand your ability to deliver what it is expected from you. In general, the best way to show great experience is to use up to 5 bullet points per company, and for each bullet point, you can go up to 2 lines. If you are talking about a very good project example, you know, this thing should not be out of your resume, then you can go up to 3 lines per paragraph. But try to stay in 1 line, 2 lines, it is the right amount. Then the ideal structure, it is to have like this. Start with a powerful verb and list your main responsibilities or the information about the project with the tech stack. and finish telling the result and the benefit for your project or activity. This way, I will understand your ability as a developer, the technology that you know and that you are able to work with, and that you are able to deliver the results as well. I have a few examples here to make this even more clear. So another tip it is to avoid talking first person. Okay, so one bullet point example: developed and maintained fully auto-scale infrastructure using Java EE, delivering applications that are able to rapidly scale up and down based on the load and internal information. This is a very complete example for a bullet point. Another one could be forecast and optimize cloud infrastructure costs, reducing 50% of the total expenses related to the operations. So if you have numbers, these are really good for your resume. These kind of prove your point, you know? So if you have percentages, numbers, if you make a system, if you made a system faster, you can tell me by how much, you know? So if a system needed like 3 days to compile the information and generate a strategic report, and now it is just 30 seconds, it is another measurement that you can mention in your resume to make this even more interesting. If you have more than 5 experiences, you can mention them in the previous experiences topic, and you will not put anything below the company. It is just to mention your previous experience. If the recruiter think that this might be interesting, they will ask you more information about it. And if you have side projects, you can also mention here, but a common mistake that many candidates usually make is they mention the projects that they developed inside the companies in a different topic. So if it is inside a company, if you develop the project while you're working for a specific company, this should be below the company, okay? Side projects are personal projects, or if you are also working as a freelancer, this should be in the side projects topic. And it is just the name of the topic, sorry, the name of the project, then a little description, 1 or 2 lines, one would be ideal. And if you have some media to share or a link, you can make the name of the project a clickable link. For education and certificates, you can mention by order or order of relevance. So you can start with your master's degree or MBA and then the bachelor. So first the specialization part and then the bachelor degree, associate degree. You don't need to share too much. So the year that you finish your course, the name of the course, name of the university, and if you have certificates, you can mention as well below the degree, certificate in, and the name of the institution, the year that you had your certificate. For technical skills, this is a great way, and talking to our recruiters, the Van Hack recruiters that work with the companies that are ready to hire you guys, they said to us that this is the best way to go. So this is a very hot tip. Try to use this way to tell how many years of experience you have working with a certain technology. So 8 years, 6 years, and if you are studying something because it is something that you are still interesting to you, or it is like a new technology, you can also mention that you are studying that technology. For the languages, it is really important that you tell me the level of proficiency. So if you speak English and it is your native language, you can mention English native, or if it is not your native language, your native language, you can mention the level of proficiency. And if you speak other languages, the same thing. And this is the structure for a good resume. Fonshu, we should open for questions later, right? I can move on for the interview, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Sure, thank you. And the last tip for the resume is constantly refresh your resume. A thing that many candidates say to me is, Larissa, I don't remember. I don't remember the indicators For sure, I have some numbers to share on my resume, but I don't remember them. So constantly refresh your resume, because if you will going to rely on your memory, maybe in the future you'll not remember everything. So this should be a thing that you do, 6 months period, or 3 months, but refresh your resume frequently. Okay. Now moving on. Oh, uh, I had another tip for you. Why it is really important that you follow our tips? Because usually the recruiters spend an average of 7 seconds on your resume to do the screening process. So it is really quick. And if you follow this structure and the tips for writing the information, you will have a clean resume that is really pleasant to read, and it will be very easy for the recruiter to find the information that you want to share to prove that you are an amazing developer or are an amazing tech talent that deserves an interview. And now we are going to the international interview. So, if you are about to have an interview, the first thing that you need to do it is to read your resume again. Yes, I know that you wrote your resume, but it is the document that you sent to the recruiter, so you need to remember everything that you mentioned over there, because if they ask you specific questions, you should be able to talk about them. So study and memorize your resume. The focus mainly you should focus mainly on the recent experiences. So the first three ones, the newer ones, are the most important ones. And make sure to prepare yourself to give a quick summary of any project or job that you were involved with, and to discuss the hardest and most interesting problems you encountered along the day. So you need to be ready to talk about. Tell me about your work. Tell me about a day at work. What are your responsibilities, and also all the information that you share on a resume. Check the job description. This is like one of the most important things that you should do before an interview. Study the job description and pay attention to the requirements. Probably they will share with you the must have, so the requirements that you should have, and what it is a plus, something that it is nice to have, and check the key responsibilities, because what you see on the job description, it is your focus. It is what you need to try to make a correlation between your professional background and the position that you are applying for. You have a lot of information to share about yourself, and sometimes it is difficult to try to select about what you are going to talk in an interview. And the job description, it is like the roadmap for the topics and the things that you should highlight about your professional background. So you always need to keep in mind that you need to make a clear correlation between you and the job description to land the job position, to land the job offer. And besides all of that, you should study the company as well. So search about the company history, what it is their product, their industry, values and culture, country, city, show engagement. Everything that you search about the company provides you unique information that probably your competitors will not be bothered to look for. So if you look their social media, if you look magazine spreads or a newspaper spread about the company, you have a lot of different topics to talk about. So if they ask you, why should we hire you, or why do you want to work for us, you will have more things to say than your competitors. And it is also really, really important that you really want this position. You need to show that you want that. And if you look for a whole set of reasons why you want to work for this company, this will sound very true. I know that it is true, but you need to sound like it is true as well. So this is really a key thing that you should do. And I don't know if you already have thought about this, but you can check if the company has a YouTube channel, and you can look for the videos. This is good because you will try to understand how the company communicates with their customers, how they communicate with the society, and you can try to tailor your speech to match the culture of the company as well. And maybe your interviewer already recorded a video and it is available on YouTube. If you are applying for a position for a company that maybe has a demo video, a demonstration video, you can see more information about their product. So search a lot of things, including the LinkedIn of your interviewer. And if you are applying for a position as a Java developer, for an example, you can try to find other Java developers that are listed as employees for this company on LinkedIn, and you will see what it is the tech stack that they work with, what it is their profile. You will have much, much more information, and you will feel more secure. You will feel more ready for the interview. This is really nice. Okay, now talking about you on the interview. Prepare your stories. This is something that I always say to my candidates. Have in your pocket at least 4 good examples, technical examples about the projects that you have been working with, and always pick a project that you have a positive result to share. Because one of the greatest way to provide an answer, it is to use the CAR methodology. So what is the CAR methodology? In your answer, you need to construct like a storytelling kind of way to say that. So you can start with the context. Remember, this is a good way to think while developing, while elaborating your bullet points as well. About the projects, remember? So tell me about the context, tell me about the action, and tell me about the result. And even if it is not a technical interview, use tech talk. Tell me the technologies that you used, what were the challenges that you faced, and how you overcome those challenges. And use the tech talk, because this way you sound really experienced, a seasoned professional, and it is really good for you. The ability to communicate thoughts and ideas in a clear, concise manner, it is absolutely invaluable skill to employers that employers seek. So sometimes people provide very short answers. Sometimes people get lost in details and the answer can sound boring, tiring for who is listening to you. So if you use this methodology, you will be able to provide a clear and concise answer, and this is like a very good thing. Talk out loud. Interviewers want to understand how you think and approach problems. So talk out loud while you are solving problems. This is really usual on interviews. They will tell you a problem to solve, and you will take your time to think about it. And if you can comment about the things that you are thinking, because you don't want to leave the conversation in an awkward situation, so you can think, you can enunciate the things that you are thinking. So let the interviewer see how you are tackling the problem, and they just might guide you as well. So you don't need to be afraid of an interview or afraid of the interviewer. This is really nice, you need to establish a good communication. So it is like a dialogue. It is not a game of questions and answers where you are the one just providing answers. So if you talk out loud while thinking, while solving a problem, the interviewer might help you no, think about this, and you will have a good communication. You will feel less nervous, and this can result in a better chances of getting hired. Body language. There are a lot of things that we can say with words, but there is a lot of other things that our body will tell for us. So be positive. Remember to smile. A good smile goes a long way. Show yourself as a confident developer, as a confident tech talent, because um, you are good, you know. You need to go to the interview knowing that you are good because they are interested in you. If they have no interest in hiring you, they will not book an interview with you. So you can feel confident and show a good energy. It is really boring to interview someone who doesn't show a good level of energy. So this it is another good tip. And to feel like this, the best way it is to practice for an interview because you will experience the moment before and you will feel ready for the real moment. This is something that we do at Van Hack. I don't know if all of you guys are Van Hackers already or not, but if you are about to have an interview with a Van Hack hiring partner, we will do a mock interview with you to get you ready. So you can count on us. And be careful about your voice tone as well. I don't know, I myself, I usually have a low voice tone, and I know that I need to be alert for that so everyone can hear me. So you need to evaluate yourself so you can have a good voice tone. Keep and maintain eye contact. This is really important because if you are looking to another direction, the interviewer can feel that you are not so engaged with the situation. Okay, and the posture. So be professional. For the interview, even if it is like an online interview, you need to be in a good chair, you know, with a neutral background. Sometimes I had conversations with candidates. They were sitting in a bed or sitting on the floor or in an inappropriate environment. So the posture is really important. So a straight chair, you know, where you can look professional, it is a good thing. Dress code, yeah. If you are going to have an interview in person, of course that you are going to think about your clothes. But if you are having an online interview, you need to think about your clothes as well. Let's imagine that you need to turn on your lights and you need to stand up. It is not good that you are wearing like very short shorts, for an example. So you need to think about your clothes exactly the same way that you are thinking if you are having an interview in person. So it is okay to use a t-shirt. There is no problem with t-shirts or a casual shirt, or if you want to use a polo shirt or if you want to use a button shirt, it is okay. And make sure that you are wearing a full outfit that you will use in a personal interview, in an interview in person, sorry. And the last tip, be ready to ask questions to the interviewer. Most interviewers will give you a chance to ask questions, so be prepared. The quality of your questions will be a factor in their decisions. So, what kind of questions can you ask? So, you can ask about the company culture, you can ask about your career opportunities, you can ask about the company business, you can ask technical questions, and you can also ask questions about your future in the selection process. So, how much time should you wait for feedback or something like this? Always make sure that you are sounding interested and not that you are demanding anything from the company, because this is the main point for questions, you know, that you are so interested in this position that you can already try to think of you working in this team and you want to know more information about it. You can ask about, so can you tell me more about my manager? Can you tell me how is the team? You can ask about what kind of problems the company is facing or how they are imagining that you will be helping the company to overcome those challenges. You can ask about, so I know that you guys work with this tech stack and I have a great experience working with this. And are you planning to migrate to another technology just for me to know because I can start studying that and so on. If you do this, you will show interest, and this is like one of the greatest things that you can do. It is really boring and kind of a bummer if by the end of the interview we ask for a candidate, do you have questions for us? And they say, no. This is not good. So prepare your questions before the interview as well. And that's it for today, for my part. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen.
Thank you very much, Larissa.
Thank you, guys.
That was very, very insightful. I really enjoyed that. I mean, a lot of tips, very lot of useful tips in there. And I really appreciate.
Thank
So,
you.
Ilya, do you have anything you want to share?
Yeah, so I guess there was a lot of stuff there, which is good. And of course, if people have questions, we can always go over those too and get more detail. A couple of little things. One is definitely Wi-Fi connection. Larissa mentioned this, and I want to stress it. When you are doing an international interview, and she was saying about appropriate clothes, appropriate lighting, just one of the reasons that people don't get hired or don't continue interview processes is something really simple: Wi-Fi. So if you are in a place where you have bad Wi-Fi connection, it's hard to hear you. It just naturally breaks down the conversation in air. But it's true. We've seen many times where good developers weren't able to go through an interview process just because of Wi-Fi, or as well if they show up late. Of course, you don't want to ever come late to an interview if you're in person or online. But I think especially online, there's always this fear from a company that, oh, I'm hiring this person from another country. I've never met them before in my life, in real life. I'm not sure if this person is, trustworthy or good at their job, etc. And you need to do everything you can to take that fear away. So you almost want to do even like more work, or it'd be even better than if you were just doing an in-person interview, because you're kind of starting behind local candidates. So if you come late, even if it's 1 or 2 minutes late, that looks really bad. You should have the Google Hangout or the Skype call or the Zoom before the interview starts, preferably 10-15 minutes. Think about it like when you come in person to an interview, you usually come 10-15 minutes and wait in the waiting room. This is the online version of that. And then another thing is, make sure you send a thank you email afterwards. So after the interview, make sure you send an email saying, hey, I really enjoyed this part of our conversation. Thank you very much for the opportunity, etc. That makes a big difference. And it shows that you actually care and you paid attention and you were thoughtful. You should do this no matter what for all interviews, but I find people, just because for some reason when interviews online, they just don't send that thank you email after. Another thing is, Larissa mentioned again, and I want to highlight, is this question, do you have questions for us, or why do you want to work for us? Sorry. A lot of times people say, hey, why do you want to work for us? And the answer is, well, I just want to move to the city that you live in, or I want to move to the country that you live in. I just want to relocate. And this is given any company after this, because maybe that's one of the reasons why you want to work for this company. But if a big way the company has that you're just trying to use them to get a visa to live in another country. So if of course you want to relocate, you want to go to another country, that makes sense. They understand that you're applying to a job in another country. It's obvious. It's it's a given. You wouldn't apply for a job in Berlin if you didn't want to move to Berlin. So what about the specific company makes you interested? So what is it about their industry, the problem they're trying to solve, the technologies they're working in, that kind of thing is much more appropriate. And yeah, I think that's really the last thing I have. Overall, I guess I just say is that the more you communicate, the more you're active online, the better. So yeah, actually there's one more thing I had here is, if you can create some kind of content, like have a blog or have a YouTube channel, or have just a very active, need to be anything fake, just be yourself, but be yourself online, be more, and don't have to, like, I know a lot of developers stereotypically are more introverted, etc. So you don't have to like go out of your comfort zone and be someone who you're not. But if you even write a blog post about a new technology that came out, and do a review of this new programming language that's coming out, or this new JavaScript library or whatever, just showing your knowledge, and that way companies will be much more excited to talk to you. Of course, having a good GitHub is very important as well. So if you have a strong GitHub with like code that you've built, I've been in meetings with companies where I send a resume and they just click on the GitHub account, they go to GitHub, they open a repository, and they start looking through the code. And that's more important sometimes than even what a resume looks like, although the resume is very important. But then especially the technical, like the CTOs and the hiring managers, they're going to look at your code. And so if you don't have any code examples, our code to show on your GitHub, contribute to an open source project, build something, take a few hours and really invest this time, because it'll be worth it. They're going to ask you about some projects that you have anyway, and it'd be good to have this to show them. So yeah, those are the main things I would say. There's a lot of other things we might maybe haven't covered, so maybe use the last 20 minutes here for questions and hear what everyone has to say, and hopefully we can be helpful here. Oh, you're on mute.
Okay, so that was really, really helpful. Thank you very much, Leah. So I have some questions here. So the first question is, what will it take a junior developer to get a remote job?
Good question. So I guess I'll start by saying that that's not really our focus. Like for VanHack, we want more help intermediate and senior developers to relapse. But I think in order to get a remote job, as a junior developer, first thing you need to do is just be able to get to a level where you are able to be employable, whatever that means. And probably the best thing to do is have a local job first, because it's harder to get a remote job no matter what. So have a decent experience locally, and then after that, yeah, I really couldn't tell you, because that's not really our focus. We haven't really done a lot of remote jobs for junior developers.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So the next question I have here is, how does one tackle the question of showing previous work when you don't really have anything to show?
I think similar to what I said is create something to show. So contribute to an open source project. Like if you don't have a day, like a Saturday or Sunday to take to create some kind of project or build something, even if it's small or simple, and be like looking for a job abroad, like you're not ready. So I would just not put myself in that situation. Like I would just have something to show, have something on your GitHub, and be able to to show something. And if you don't have anything to show, maybe say, hey, listen, let me build something over the weekend, and I'll send you the app that I built next week, and you can see what I'd be able to do.
Okay, thank you very much. So other question I have here is, most times we have companies that specify whether you have a work visa or you are able to work in the country. So how can VanHack and partners help developers relocate with ease, basically?
Well, maybe let's do you want. Marissa?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
there was a connection break. Sorry. Okay. So VanHack always work with companies that are able to sponsor the visa. So if you are applying for jobs inside VanHack, you don't need to worry about it, because if you are in a hiring process, the company already knows that they should provide you the visa sponsorship. And another good question that many candidates ask us is, my family can go with me, and yes, your family can go with you. If you have children, they can go and live with you. So always good.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. So Ola, do you have anything you want to share with us while I gather more questions?
Right. All right. I have a few things to share with everyone. One of the things I have here is be an expert, because this is one of the things I have noticed in my experience working as a technical recruiter. I've seen a situation where developers have bunch of skills, but you can't really place your hand on the specific one the developer is good at. You see a developer has about 4, 5, 6 languages on his resume. It doesn't speak really well when they apply for a particular role that needs a particular uh, language. Because I have, and also I've seen examples where developers, experts at frameworks. They learn a lot of frameworks, but then the core language, they are weak at it. Languages like JavaScript, languages like Python, you see a lot of developers are framework masters, but they are never a good developer at at the core of the language. So when they are given test or challenge on the language itself, they model it up because they are used to using frameworks that help us. And you understand, you are a developer, so you know what frameworks do. Most frameworks are helpers, and I've seen that this is one of the problem I've even realized with Nigerian developers, and I would like to encourage us to work more on the core of every language that we know, and showcase ourselves as a master at a particular language. And also, another thing I have here is keep your options open. Yeah, keep your options wide open. I've seen a situation where someone didn't want to go for a job because he feels he's a senior developer here, and probably they are offering him something lesser. This relocating is another whole experience. Relocating to join a team abroad, depending on the size of the company, is another whole experience. And I will implore that when you get an opportunity to do this, you can give it a try, and you can even move up from there. But I've seen a case where developers tend to be rigid, and they are not flexible about this. Also, be willing to learn new things. Okay, what I said earlier about keeping your options open is that it also affects this. Be willing to learn new things. Like okay, there's a particular role we have been working on lately to find Elm. I don't know if you're conversant with this programming language. It's a new programming language, but I see that a lot of Nigerians don't have expertise in this, and not that we don't have good developers. It's just that probably a lot of developers are comfortable working with the usual languages. Be willing to learn new things. Be very willing to learn new things, and also reach out, reach out, reach out as much as possible, network as much as possible, and also lastly, put yourself forward always. We always say this: put your best act on at every opportunity you get. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ola. So I have two more questions here. So somebody asked, I have applied to various jobs. I didn't never reply. What am I doing wrong? I think we might have answered that, but I don't know if someone wants to say something on that.
Yeah, so right now, one of the big challenges we have in VanHack is figuring out how to match the best candidates to the best jobs. Sometimes what happens is our team just hasn't been able to review every application. Other times it's the company that hasn't gotten back to us. Another thing is, we also are working on verifying every candidate, and that takes some time. A high bar because the companies have high bars, so we only send about 5% of the applicants to the companies. So yeah, we are working on solving this problem actively and making sure that people either get a negative answer so they know where they stand and how they can improve, or they understand that the company has seen their resume and they go forward in the process. And if anyone wants specific feedback, they can just get in touch with us in our Slack group and we can give them feedback.
Oh, okay, that's perfect. So somebody asked best way to respond to behavioral questions in an interview.
But, sorry, can you repeat? There was a connection break for me.
Okay, so the question is, just a second. What is the best way to respond to a behavioral question in an interview?
In an interview, um, it is kind of following what Ola just said. It is to be the best version of yourself, you know. So prepare yourself for the most common questions, including the behavioral ones, and prepare your answers previously. This way, you will lower your level of nervousness. You will not be so nervous, and you can provide a better answer. The best way to always answer a question it is try to connect you with the job description and connect you with the company. So search the job description, you know, look the job description, search about the company, and prepare your answers before, even for the behavior ones. And if you are using a technical project to prove your point, select the best one and be able to provide details about it, you know. Maybe run your examples by another person who doesn't know this project like you do, because sometimes candidates provide answers to me that are not so complete as possible, you know, and I kind of don't understand everything. They know everything in their mind, but I don't. So try to run these answers by another person and have a second feedback and before the interview. So the best answer to provide my answer is to provide the best answer possible. It is to prepare yourself previously.
Okay, thank you very much. So I have
And
another question here. Do you want
yeah,
to?
just
Okay.
quickly, we have an interview cheat sheet. So we created this just a simple Google Doc that has a few common questions, and we recommend is you create a bullet point answers to those questions and practice those answers to your friend with friends or with yourself, and always kind of be getting better. We also do mock interviews, as Larissa mentioned before. So if you do get an interview with Van Hank, you will be training your behavioral answers with us
Yes.
before the interview.
Okay, thank you very much, Leah. So the next question I have here is, how easy is it to relocate to a country that doesn't speak my primary language, and what challenges will I face?
Yeah, good question. So, how easy is it to relocate to another country? Well, that really depends on you. If you are a strong communicator, if you have good technical skills that are in demand in that country, and you're able to show that in the interviews, then it shouldn't be too hard. There's a lot of companies looking for great talent from around the world in places like Canada, Europe, and Australia, New Zealand, many countries really. And so it's not too difficult if you are prepared. The challenge is that 95% or more of people aren't prepared. So they just don't know the right ways to apply for jobs. They don't have the right resume. They don't know how to do the interviews, etc. So for some people, it takes a long time. You have to take a lot of work to get prepared and put yourself in the right space. And then also, it is harder to get an international job than a local job. So you have to really take time and do it, and not get discouraged if you don't get. So, it really depends on you and how much work you're willing to put into it. It's not difficult or complicated. It's just you have to put in the work to get to where you want to go.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me see. Okay, so another question I have here is, when should I apply as a junior developer or as a senior developer, and what is the difference?
Sorry, where should they apply?
Okay, so the question is, when should I apply as a
When?
senior developer or as a junior developer, and what is the difference?
Yeah, it's definitely easier to get international jobs as an intermediate to senior developer than a junior developer. There's a lot of junior. The reason is there's a lot of junior developers in countries that are hiring from abroad. So, for example, in Germany, there's a lot of junior developers in Germany or in Europe in general, whereas there's not many intermediate to senior developers. So there's like 5 jobs for every developer or senior developer in Germany right now. So there's a lot of opportunities. I would say over 3 years of experience, your chances are good. Of course, the more years experience, the better, and not just your experience, but actual skill. But yeah, the more experience you have, the better.
Okay, thank you very much. So I think that's it right now. I don't have any questions left. So if anybody wants to share anything before we round up, I think that would be great. So anything from anybody?
Well, yeah, I guess for me, just I want to say thank you for everyone who came on a Saturday to hang out with us. I've been seeing the chat here, so salam, Adigun, Olu Mide. Sorry for pronouncing your names wrong if I am. Ojo, Manuel. Thank you all for being here with us. And four bad hackers from Nigeria and one bad hacker from Ghana get hired. So only 5 Africans, which is a small number that we're working hard to increase. But we see that there's a lot of really great talent in Africa, and we think that it's just going to be more and more people from Africa moving around to different places in the world, and we're here to help make that happen.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Ilya. Thank you, Larissa.
Thank you.
It was nice having this session with you guys. Very insightful, very helpful, and you guys have a very good day.
Thank you.
Thanks. You too.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.